Good morning, everybody. I'm Eureka John, and you're at Eureka Street Crypto Podcast. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Play, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and all that, if you're on YouTube, I guess it's just Eureka. I used to call it Eureka Street Crypto Hub back in the day when I first started, but I don't know. It's not really a hub. It's just me and my video blog. So there's no big hub of. I guess maybe it's a hub of different projects that I'm looking at. I don't just look at one particular project. Like I'm not just an Ethereum maxi or a Bitcoin maxi. I look at a lot of different stuff. Yeah, all right. But anyway, yeah, this is my morning video blog, aka Brain Dump, and I do this just about every morning. And it's five. What time is it? 6:09 in the morning on a Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. This month is almost over, the short, quick month. I just got back from Ethereum Denver last week. And I also did the live streaming for the DAO Denver conference. It's the first year that it's been done, and it was 2 days before Ethereum Denver. So yeah, I've learned a lot from there, and I've learned a lot about AV stuff. I've learned a lot about DAOs and Ethereum and crypto and just networking in the whole industry as well. I mean, that's a whole big thing as well. You get to hear and see people from all walks of life, and I mean, of course, everybody is focused on the cryptocurrency industry, and everybody is enthusiastic about it. And it seemed like a lot of the tribalism was really put aside for that conference, which I think is cool. Because there is a lot of tribalism in cryptocurrency. Tribalism meaning, everybody having their own little, are super enthusiastic about their own little project, a pet project or whatever that they like. And people become maxis in that and think that that's the only way to go. And then you find some people that like support these weird, I don't know, altcoins, and they become so loyal and faithful to it, and they're like, I'm gonna hold and never cash out. And you're like, why would you never cash out, man? It's like, in the point. I mean, yes, I'm into this for the tech, right? Okay, but I also still want to do well off of it and make a product and make a profit. Just like people go into business, and a lot of times people want to go into business into something that they like and that they don't mind doing, that they enjoy doing, and they're in that for the tech, but at the same time they want to pull a profit and live a good life, and be able to support their families and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Anyway, yeah, this is not financial advice, and I'm not here. It's not educational video, and I'm not here shilling anything. So yeah, it's just me and my video blog talking about my crypto progress. So let's look at the old CoinGecko and see what we have going here. Mind if I give this a little refresh from all this blood in the streets on a Tuesday? So let's see if the situation has improved any, and I think it has. I kind of halfway looked at my Zerion wallet and CoinGecko this morning while I was laying in bed before I got out of bed. Oh yeah, okay. So it has improved a little bit. So Bitcoin up 3.5% to $38,850. Ethereum up 5.3% to $2,726.44. Tether down 0.2%. Okay, that's a stable coin. Yeah, why don't I even look at Tether? Okay, Binance up 4.6% to 380.69. USD is another stable coin in fifth. XRP up 4.7 to 73 cents. Cardano up 8.1% to 93 cents. Solana up 8.4% to 92.17. Terra up 13.8% to 58.99. Avalanche up 13%. I keep telling you guys that Avalanche, if you're one of those arbitrage traders and stuff like that, that really just, or just a trader, not arbitrage, just a trader that really loves to capitalize on the difference between days, even hours, whatever, Avalanche is probably the one for you. I do own some Avalanche. I just don't. I just let it sit there. I let everything sit there. I don't really trade around. It's just not my shtick. But some people are good at it. And trading. I mean, the best way to succeed in the cryptocurrency space is to buy and hold. And to hodl, as the crypto heads say. And it doesn't stand for hold on for dear life, even though it kind of fits it, but that's not how it came about. It came about by somebody, I believe it was either Reddit or Twitter, back in the early days of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin, and the person was drunk or something, and they were talking about, screw selling, and I'm just gonna hodl, and or whatever. I'm just gonna keep hodling. I don't know. It was something like that, and he spelled hold wrong, and somehow, and meme culture, it just caught on. Then everybody just started saying hodl, meaning that they're gonna hold their Bitcoin. And then from then on, it just continued forward and it gained momentum. Now it's just the official word for hold, to hodl. And other offshoot words have come about from that, like biddle, to build. They had just had biddle week the week before ETH Denver. So yeah, it's interesting because you can never predict the future, and anybody that tries to create legibility out of the future, and this is what institutions and centralized entities try to do. They want to create predictability and legibility. They want control. They want power, and all that happens by even in the early days of the Old Testament Bible. They even said, I believe it was in Judges or Leviticus or whatever, they said that God did not like the census. Obviously I'm paraphrasing it, but the census, what that represents, it represents a top-down control and creating legibility out of something that is completely organic and tribal. So yeah, I don't know. I just went off on a tangent, didn't I? But yeah, so what the point is something like hodl comes about, and it's like some kind of weird mistake, and then it turns into culture, and then now you see it kind of as an official word on websites and everything like that. Hey, what's up, Trust 1878? He says, I think it was from a Bitcoin chat forum post. Okay, yeah, I've read it before, and I've seen the history. It's just one of those things that just pass in one ear and out the other ear as you're just studying this stuff. But I know that it came from some kind of drunk post on a forum. And it just caught on. And the point is you can never predict what will catch on, what memes will catch on, what parts of culture will catch on, and will be so funny or revolutionary in one generation, and then the next generation it becomes canon and authority. So yeah. Never discount the most ridiculous crap that you see nowadays, because in the next generation that could be considered canon and authority. So that's just one lesson learned here, and this is why top-down centralized structures will never win. And people trying to create control out of all this. So this is why I always have hope every single day that the CBDC won't be the way of doing things, and why we won't end up in dystopia in the future. So this is why I do have some hope in the future, because I have hope in these quirky little things like the birth of the word hodl. So anyway, Trust 1878 says, when you get a moment, can you please let me know what you think of the new breed of dexes like polka dex? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different dexes coming out on a lot of different blockchains. Phantom as well. Avalanche has Trader Joe and Pangolin. I'm providing liquidity on Pangolin. I mean, I like them, and I think they're a great place to be able to provide liquidity and stuff like that. I don't really know that much about them, especially Polkadex. I really need to get in to check out Polkadot. That's another thing that I've really just kind of somehow not really touched on much. But Gavin Wood, I believe, was one of the founders of Polkadot, and I mean, the dude's a freaking genius. So, I definitely need to check into it. And if he's one of the main actors behind Polkadex, then yeah. But I mean, Polkadot for some reason seems to incur a lot of hate, and I don't know why. So, I mean, they were one of the first people to do all these parachains and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, let's see here. So yeah, I was talking about top-down centralized structures wanting to create a census and account for everybody and everything, and to create legibility in organic societies, and that's kind of basically colonialism. And what do you need in order to fight against that? You need privacy. And as we move into digital cash, and we move into First of all, people say, well, we're already at digital cash. Everywhere I go, I just, swipe my card and it's okay. What difference does it make, to use something like Bitcoin or, whatever other type of cryptocurrency? It makes a huge difference, because everything that you do is tracked and traced, and when it goes through a centralized structure. Instead, Bitcoin is basically like cash. It's like that $20 bill you can give to the kid to mow your lawn, although a lot of those kids charge more now because of the 7.5% inflation. Yeah, so it's really important to have that. Well, I'm not doing anything wrong. That's like the worst argument. It kind of pisses me off, honestly. But Trust 1878 says Polkadot ecosystem is a sleeping giant, maybe. And I wouldn't doubt Polkadot's a sleeping giant. A lot of these are, because there's a lot of, I don't know how private Polkadot is. And a lot of people say Ethereum is centralized, but the point is that they aren't a central bank digital currency. So that's one step of the way. It is an alternative way. There are a bunch of independent nodes on each of these networks, and they don't answer to a centralized node. So some are more centralized than others. I mean, for instance, Bitcoin has like 14,600 and something nodes. Ethereum has last time I looked, I think it was like, I can't remember. It was like 4,500 nodes, maybe 6,000 nodes. I don't know. Solana was only like 1,200 nodes that I believe. So I don't know how many nodes Polkadot has. But either way, they still are trying to decentralize, but that some of them give and take on decentralized for scalability and so I don't know, and speed. So privacy is really important. So I came across this thread here about Tornado Cash, and if you don't know, Tornado Cash is a way to do a transaction, run it through the Tornado Cash platform, and then it will mix up a bunch of addresses, and it makes your transaction untraceable. And like I said, people that say, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, I mean, that's just, to me, kind of an ignorant perspective, So here's a thread here. He's, I guess, 0x Cacti. I need to follow this dude. All right. I will follow 0x Cacti. Follow me too, Eureka John, the #1. So I've seen a bit of Tornado Cash hate recently. This is ridiculous. There are many reasons other than crime that a person would want privacy. Here's a short list. All right. So let me go through some of these, and these are really good arguments. Individuals with large amounts of crypto are subject to social engineering schemes. And I talked about social engineering a couple episodes back while I was at the hotel. And social engineering is basically just a fancy word for con artists. It's a hacker that like, for instance, that couple and that ridiculous RazzleCon female rapper with her boyfriend Ilya, I can't remember his last name. They somehow were the hackers of Bitfinex, or they bought that Bitfinex Bitcoin that was hacked, but it ends up nowadays being $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, do I believe that they are the hackers? I don't believe that they sat there on their computers and just coded away and were able to get that by like a hard hack. However, she apparently wrote, Heather Morgan, RazzleCon, the rapper, wrote the book on how the basics of social engineering. I mean, she wrote a book on it. And so, social engineering is basically, I saw some video, or I listened to some Spotify account, and somebody demonstrated how you can hack without ever knowing a line of code. And you go into a bank, and he made up a badge that showed his employment in the place, walked in with a sense of authority, just walked straight on back to the coffee in the back room. And the guy didn't steal anything, but he proved how he could get back there. And then he acted like he was an IT guy, went to the computers, and was able to like just plug in a hard drive or a little card. And then, it shows, you got hacked, and he was able to prove that he could do that. And that's through social engineering. That's basically being a con artist. It's like Fletch. If you remember that old movie Fletch, with Chevy Chase, or like Office Space as well, Ron Livingston's character. And they go and they, with Samir Nayananajad. Why do I remember his name and not Ron Livingston's character's name? But they end up passing the disc back and forth to each other after they get drunk and talk about some way that they could basically skim off the top of some microtransactions from Initech. And then they end up going in the office, passing the discs back and forth to each other covertly after he gets promoted. And then Samir Nayananajad or Michael Bolton plugs in the disc to the computer. And then while the three of them sit there and wait, Ron Livingston's character goes and checks the ATM the next day. And he had apparently stolen like $500,000 or something like that because a decimal was in the wrong place in the code. So I mean, but all that is social engineering. You hack without actually using code to hack. Anyway, back to the point. Individual large amounts of crypto are subject to social engineering schemes. Thomas G. ETH just put out a great thread about this. I'll have to check that out. Thomas G_ETH. Okay, I'm gonna follow this dude and go check that out. But for the meantime, I'm going to read this thread. You can use Tornado Cash to separate delink your online identity from your wallet. This makes it much harder to be targeted. And then the second part of the thread says it's really uncomfortable when your friends ask you for money. Yeah, it is. Obviously I haven't really been in the position to have a ton of money for a bunch of people to ask me for money, but so you can use Tornado Cash to move funds from a large wallet that you want to keep secret to a more public wallet to make sure that your friends don't know how much you hold in the original wallet. So the blockchain is transparent. And if somebody knows your Ethereum address, especially like, my Ethereum address is eurekajohn.eth, so if somebody wanted to go look in there and that one wallet, I mean, I have like 10 wallets, but they could look in there and they could see what I have, and they could be like, yeah, well, and people do that with celebrities all the time, especially, I mean, people have posted what Mark Cuban holds, and, they sit there and say, well, Mark Cuban holds XYZ coin, so we all need to buy XYZ coin when it was probably just airdropped into his address. But anyway, if you don't want people trying to bum money from you because they looked in your Ethereum wallet and be like, I know you have, 20,000 ETH, you can spare an ETH for your brother, can't you? Well, you can run it through Tornado Cash and then, it'll end up going to a wallet that nobody knows about. All right. So then the third point, you might not want people to know where certain streams of income are coming from. Let's say that you work for several DAOs or have several digital identities. You can use Tornado to anonymously condense balances from multiple wallets into one. And that seems pretty handy too. All right. And then F you, I'm allowed to have privacy. The I don't have anything to argument sucks. I don't want some random government worker reading the texts I send to my loved ones, and I don't want some random people being able to track my wallets. And that goes for you too, you CIA person probably watching me right now, or FBI, I don't know. But you won't see much, honestly. So. Anyway, let's see here. Maybe some low-level, crypto transactions, a couple dirty websites occasionally. Anyway, so you could already do all these with sexes, with centralized exchanges. It's with sexes, without benefiting crime to the same degree that Tornado does. Which is why the Steelman arguments about balancing tests between rights to privacy versus law enforcement and deterrence organizations adequately demanding, fighting subpoenas, etc. And okay, also this really applies to the Canadian trucker movement going on right now. And I don't care where your stance is on the Canadian trucker movement, but the fact that they are freezing accounts, first of all, GoFundMe, people were trying to do GoFundMe, the Web2 site to where you can contribute to anybody who runs a campaign on it. GoFundMe froze the donations, and then they were threatening and they were trying to take those donations and give them to other donation platform or other donation projects that they found suitable, which was, I mean, that's like beyond criminal to me, honestly. But they ended up, I believe, refunding back that money and to the people trying to donate. And then there was another one. What was the other one? I can't remember the name of the other website. But that one apparently got hacked. And they showed the hacker, online, and the guy, I don't know if that person was really the hacker or not, but he was pretty outlandish and looked like a complete wacko. But yeah, so that failed too. So this gives the case for Bitcoin. It gives a strong case for cryptocurrency. It gives a strong case for privacy. And Justin Trudeau and the Canadian government were saying that they were freezing the bank accounts of people that have contributed to the Canadian trucker protests and everything like that. I mean, it's a sad day for freedom in Canada for sure. And this right here. I mean, they've actually pulled the curtain back kind of early, and everybody's kind of waking up to what is going on and what has been happening, and people are just now starting to understand, how all blockchain is linked to this passport, the VAX passport and all that type of stuff, linked to bank accounts, linked to social credit system. And people are just now starting to realize this. You're like, I've been knowing this since like early 2020, so I don't know. It's just, yeah, but you can't make people feel stupid about at what point they start to understand this type of stuff. Everybody is on their own pace. But yeah. Anyway, back to privacy. So this really strengthens the case for privacy and learning how to use a lot of these cryptocurrencies effectively, to how to avoid centralized exchanges, how to custody your own private keys. So yeah. Let's see down. Let's look at some of these responses here. If privacy is outlawed, only outlaws allow privacy. I agree with all the points made here. Nonetheless, tax evasion and scams are far more important issues than these quality of life points, in my honest opinion. Or in my opinion. He didn't even say honest opinion. Okay, yes, tax evasion, sure. Money laundering and all that stuff, So somebody says, so preventing the tax evasion of a few is worth sacrificing the privacy and freedom of many. Serious tax evasion should be prevented, but innocent people shouldn't be punished in order to do so. And the amount of serious tax evasion that happens, to curtail everybody's privacy because there are a few really crooked individuals doing tax evasion is not the right way to do that. So there are other ways to crack down on the serious tax evaders other than curtailing everybody's sense of privacy, so let's look and see what the rest of this thread says, because I'm curious about this. Somebody says, in an ideal world we would have both, but since our world is not ideal, we have to choose and prioritize. In an ideal world, you wouldn't be thinking of tax and vision. Obviously it's a spelling error. In an ideal world, are you still paying taxes? Somebody says, it's better to catch criminals, people who are taking off with millions with rug pulls and so many more crimes, because people want to hide what they were doing with their money. WTF, you got to hide. See, that's a whole what do you have to hide thing. Yeah, I want to catch rug pullers, but at the same time, you got to learn how to you got to educate people, and that's the funny thing is people want a government system to try to step in and take care of everything for them. I know a lot of people have baggage with churches and stuff like that. And the church at one point was integrated with the state, and the church was authority on all things truth. That is no longer the case. One benefit of the church is that it has, in a lot of cases, stepped in where people donate their money through church programs to be able to help feed people and clothe people and house people and get people on their feet without going through a government entity. And people end up taking care of each other if you just give them a chance. And I believe the same thing as well when catching a lot of these criminals, and a lot of these rug pulls. The crypto community, if you haven't noticed, if you are a bad actor in the crypto space, crypto Twitter will find out real quick. And word spreads around, and everybody cancels the bad actors. A lot of times now they throw the baby out with the bathwater, and they will cancel the good people too. But if you are a bad actor in the crypto space, if you're rug pulling projects, I've seen a thread about I believe it was Crypto Whale, that was going around with all these different identities and was posting all this stuff that wasn't correct, and he ended up getting doxxed, and he was also rug pulling people as well, and the crypto community caught up with him and caught him. So that's what happens, and it's unofficial. The government is the official way to do it. We need the government to protect us, but communities and people are very powerful when you give them a chance, and they do things through unofficial channels in order to right wrongs in society. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear. They want data. They want black and white facts and data points and everything like that to back things up. But that's kind of the little fluffy, squishy things in life that you can't predict. Just like at the beginning of the video, I talked about hodling. You can never tell the future because you never know what'll catch on and become a part of the culture. So anyway, let's take a quick look at the Tornado Cash website. The Tornado Cash, they have Tornado Cash Classic and Tornado Cash Nova. Tornado Cash Classic is a fully decentralized protocol for private transactions on Ethereum. There's a few mirrors you can get it from, and then Tornado Cash Nova, second generation privacy protocol with the support of arbitrary accounts and shielded transfers. And I'm not really sure what all that is. See, this is my journey through the crypto space. I'm documenting it, and I'm kind of discovering this stuff. This is my time in the morning to do so as I go along. And so a lot of times I'm looking at this stuff for the first time with you. So how Tornado Cash works. A user generates a random key note in parentheses and deposits Ether or in ERC20 along with submitting a hash of the note to the Tornado Cash smart contract. Okay. After depositing, users should wait some amount of time before withdrawing to improve their privacy. I guess the longer you put it through the little laundry machine, the cleaner it gets. So anyway, or the more encrypted it gets. I don't know. And then you withdraw. The user submits a proof of having the valid key to one of the notes deposited, and the contract transfers Ether or the ERC20 to a specified recipient. So how Tornado Cash achieves privacy. Tornado Cash improves transaction privacy by breaking the on-chain link between the source and destination address. It uses a smart contract that accepts Ethereum deposits that can be withdrawn by a different address. To preserve privacy, a relayer can be used to withdraw to an address with no Ethereum balance. Whenever Ethereum is withdrawn to the new address, there is no way to link the withdrawal to the deposit, ensuring complete privacy. So I would encourage, it's completely decentralized. The Tornado Cash protocol is fully decentralized and owned by the community. Tornado Cash initial developers have no control over it and are not running any servers. So Tornado Cash smart contracts, circuits, and toolchain are fully open sourced. Tornado Cash smart contracts are unstoppable. There are no admins, no upgradability. Nobody, including Tornado Cash initial developers, can change it or shut it down. So you can't shut down Tornado Cash, just like you can't shut down Bitcoin. You can't shut down Ethereum. Maybe like a full-blown EMP for a little while. I don't know. However, Bitcoin has like Bitcoin satellites, and people have done Bitcoin transactions through radio frequencies. So I guess that, I don't know. Anyway, that takes power, I guess. I don't know. And then another point about Tornado Cash is user interface is hosted by the community on IPFS, Interplanetary File System, which is a decentralized way to do web serving. It's very simplified way of explaining it, but it is accessible as long as at least one user in the world is hosting it, right? So Tornado Cash governance and mining smart contracts are deployed by the community in a decentralized way. There is no single deployer. So I've always wondered that. I want to get into the technical aspects of on decentralized platforms, how updates are made, like who has access to be able to make the updated code. That I still can't quite wrap my head around, but I mean, it is possible. I just am not smart enough to understand it yet. I will. So anyway, Tornado protocol parameters and token distribution are controlled by the community via governance. Okay. And then the trusted setup ceremony for ZK Snarks has 1,114 contributions. As long as at least one contribution is honest, the ZK Snark keys are secure. Now, the trusted ceremony, and I've tried to explain this before, It started with Zcash, and it's basically in a zero knowledge proof, the initiator of the zero knowledge proof. And the trusted setup is to be able to eliminate, I guess, the first actor on that, and get rid of all what's called the toxic waste. And so you eliminate the trailhead. And a lot of people have had ceremonies where they burn hard drives and stuff like that, and they completely delete the trailhead out of the rest of the zero knowledge proof system, and so you don't know where it starts and stuff like that, and you have no way to trace it back. So I mean, that's obviously badly explained, but it's kind of the point just for somebody trying to understand the basic concept of, it's covering your tracks, basically, the trusted ceremony. And then lastly, the Tornado Cash protocol is developed based on awesome open source research by the Zcash team with the help of an amazing Ethereum community. And the Zcash team, the company behind Zcash is Electric Coin Company. Yeah, Electric Coin Company. And they're the ones developing a lot of this type of technology. And so it's good to see Zcash, branching out and, working with the Ethereum community, getting past a lot of this tribalism that you see going on and this Maxiism. So they have their product, their governance, anonymity mining, so you can mine Tornado Cash in an anonymous way, compliance, trusted setup, ceremony, and initiation. Anyway, I'm out of time. I also wanted to go into Bitcoin's Panem and into the Samurai wallet, and to a lot of that stuff on the Bitcoin side of things. There's a whole lot to learn there as well. I obviously only touched on the surface, a lot of the stuff. It's what I do. Sometimes I'll try to go deep down and technical to the limits of my understanding. But yeah, there are plenty of resources. You can do that. I constantly dig through white papers, but I don't a lot of times read all the formulas within the white papers and the technical nitty-gritty. I will read the abstract and the intro and then the conclusion and then a bunch of points in between. But yeah, so you do what you can do, man. I work 40 hours a week at my job too, so this is my time, like I said, to kind of dig in and get dirty with this stuff, and I'm doing it publicly. So all right, well, that being said, give me a thumbs up and a follow if you like my style or how I'm doing this stuff. We're all learning here. And anybody that tells you that they're pro at this stuff is probably lying, or they're probably a scammer. So I got hit up by a pretty clever scammer yesterday about an NFT drop, and I'll probably show you the guys the screenshots of that tomorrow. Yeah, and then once he started asking me for my private key and my seed phrase, I was just like, you ain't getting that crap. You're pretty smart. Yeah, you thought you could pull one over around me, didn't you? Anyway, I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you for making it to the end of this program. If you actually like this content, give a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more, just hit the subscribe button. I'm available on YouTube, Odyssey, and BitChute, and on all the major podcasting platforms in audio version. Spotify specifically. If you would like to follow and leave a review, that would help a lot. I am also available on Twitter at EurekaJohn1. That's EUREKA John, JOHN, and the number 1. My DMs are always open. Feel free to shoot me a message. Thanks again.